hear that in the distance? Hark! Jingle bells. That can only mean one thing. Not only am I cheap, I'm also broke. An important distinction. It's not just that I don't want to spend money, it's that I don't have a ton to spend. So, let's see if I can bring some Christmas cheer to this little old apartment for a mere $15. Think I can do it? I've got one pre-lit tree, courtesy of my parents, and that's gonna take care, I think, of a quite big chunk of the cost. It's not huge, it's only about 3 feet tall. Frankly, I don't know where I would put a bigger one. But that means I still have to consider stockings, ornaments, and whatever other decor tickles my fancy. I think first things first, we should probably take a trip to the thrift shop. Now, I didn't film a lot while I was there, but I did get video evidence of this because I wanted to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. I would say I have questions, comments, and concerns. And now, using the power of editing, let's see what I actually did get. I'd like to welcome a very special guest star to the program. My neighbor's renovation that started on a Sunday, which is technically illegal in the city of Toronto, but no one told them, I guess. I am going to do my level best to make sure that it is a guest spot and not a featured player. But unfortunately, this is apartment life, and I have no control over how loud everything is in an apartment sometimes. Help me. Let's talk about why we're actually here. The goods. This bag is full of all the scraps and bits of fabric that I haven't used that I thought would be good for various Christmas decorations, whether it's just some classic felt, a little bit of leftover flannel. Ooh, do we recognize her? I also have some gardening wire, a bunch of cardboard, toilet paper rolls I've been hoarding, and a few things I purchased from the thrift store. I will likely need to be making a trip to the dollar store to fill in around the edges, but let me show you what else I got anyway. I got a craft bag with 2 variety boxes full of beads for $3.99, a faux fur baby blanket with a little bunny hood for $3.99, and a celestial paper garland for $4.99. With tax, our running total is $14.66. I started off by painting just about as much cardboard as I could. I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do yet, so I kind of just went ham over a couple of days. Once everything was dry, I cut stars from the more colorful and cooperative cardboard. And exactly 1 snowflake. I'm not really sure why, to be honest. Zag on them, I guess. After I put up the stars, I was starting to feel the Christmas vibe. But I was a little worried that the pink, purple, and blue were a little too cold in that way that mid-century modern Christmas decorations sometimes are. I needed to add some warmth and texture, which meant it was time to break into that scrap stash. As I beaded my ornaments, I did my best to elevate the patterns that already existed in my fabric. I also knew that I desperately wanted a beaded pomegranate ornament. To what end? But sometimes we yearn for the purpose of yearning, so I did what had to be done. also had some shiny gold lining fabric lying around, so I cut some stars with that and added some work cotton for strength. I sewed them on up and stuffed the ornaments with more scraps. Well, I have been a busy little bee working on ornaments, and most of them are going good. However, I got to my first star, and when I tried to turn it outside right, we got this. I'm gonna have to rethink that. Not only did I wreck the fabric trying to turn it outside right, I broke the tip off of one of my seam rippers. The fabric, this is lining fabric. This is supposed to be slippery and smooth. I only added a little bit of work cotton for strength, but either way, it was so tightly packed in there. I haven't gotten any of the points of this star out at all. So I think we're gonna switch gears, and I think we're gonna work on the stockings for a little bit because I want to make my life easy. So I'm going to sew fun fur. For the stockings, I knew that I wanted Piper and I to coordinate. So I gave her a main stocking body of fun fur and a gingham trim. And then I made mine with a gingham body and a fun fur trim. I'm making cording from all of that leftover bias tape from the Barbie dress from 1,000 years ago. This is why I keep things, because I am an infernal pack rat, and sometimes it's useful. Now, if you'll excuse me, my cat is about to turn this into a giant knot, and I need to stop that from happening. Wasn't exactly a flawless application, but even a half success is a win when you're working with fun fur. I followed 0 fun fur tips. I googled nothing beforehand. We were simply vibing at this point, which turned out to be a bit of a problem. The Christmas magic was not with me in this moment. The second half of this magical transition didn't get filmed, partly because I forgot, but mostly because I spent the next half hour trying to figure out the correct configuration of inside out to outside right to put the lining together with the cuff so that I didn't accidentally sew everything inside out, which I did. I am just saying this out loud so that I don't forget later. The lining is outside right with the good side on the inside. And then stuffed inside of here, the main sock is outside right with the good side on the outside. If I've done this wrong again, I'm sorry. I don't know how long I'm going to have before the crashing and the banging starts, so let's get into it. It has been a week or two since all of this started, and we are making what I would say is good progress. I don't think I'm going to get to everything that I wanted to do, but frankly, that's because even if I only spend $15 on this, my time is also valuable, and I work a lot. So, let's talk today's game plan. Is this all of my bias tape that I made from the Barbie dress? No, not even a little bit. But I think we need to do something with this arch. And what it requires is some lovely bows, I think. And then I know you're wondering, Grace, you spent so long painting a bunch of toilet paper tubes. What are you even going to do with them? Well, the answer for a lot of them was experiment and ruin them, which is fine because they're toilet paper tubes. If I really want more, there will always be more. With these two, what we're going to do is make, I kid you not, the star at the top of my tree with them. I'm going to take some garden wire and spiralize one of these and then glue the spiralized tube to the garden wire. And then I'm going to make a star out of the other one. If we are getting really ambitious, I've got a couple other little things up my sleeve. But so far, I think we're doing pretty good considering I spent $15. What's really cool is because I'm using like a lot of the same fabric, everything feels kind of unified. At this point, I was feeling kind of lazy and absolutely did not want to sew a tree skirt. Luckily, I still had the faux shearling side of my baby blanket. I just eyeballed a vague circle skirt shape and cut. Ta-da! No sewing required. My parents' tree back home always had glass candy ornaments on it, and I wanted to fill out my tree with something similar. So, I made a few candies out of fabric. They've got the added bonus of not shattering if Piper gets the bright idea to bat them off the tree. As a final touch, I made Hamish a little Santa hat. I wasn't filming at the time, but a certain snoopervisor decided she needed to help, so she was given the opportunity to test out Hamish's little hat. It didn't go well. So, all in all, I am happy with how everything turned out. I've been really noticing how bright and more full the space feels now that I've got some Christmas decorations up. But I will admit, things do look a little more homemade than I think I was going for. I had big Martha Stewart visions and more of a 5-minute crafts execution. I can't complain because I still am really enjoying it. You know, you can't do everything perfect. So how much did this all cost? My initial thrift trip came up to $14.66. That included the $5 garland that I didn't end up actually using. I also had to go to Dollarama and grab some ornament hooks for the tree. So in total, everything came out to just under $16. Considering my target was $15, not bad. If you're planning on doing something like this yourself, I think you can definitely do it under $20 fairly easily if you have some sort of crafting stash, doesn't matter what kind really, and you have a tree. If you're starting entirely from scratch, no stash, no tree, it's probably going to cost a little bit more. However, I would recommend starting at the thrift store. You're not necessarily going to get down to $16, but you could probably do a lot of this for fairly cheap. I'd recommend sticking to a pretty tight color palette, maybe like 3 or 4 colors and one accent metallic. That way you're keeping supply costs down. You're only looking for a few key colors, and it's going to be easier to coordinate anyway because it's all unified. With that in mind, I want to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed yourself, don't forget to give her a like, maybe a little comment. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and if you don't celebrate it, I want to wish you a bright, warm, and happy winter. And if you want to stick around, feel free to subscribe. I want to thank all of the people who have recently subscribed. I can see 1,000 people in the distance. We're closing in, and that is almost unfathomable to me how fast that is happening. And I'm really glad you guys wanted to stick around. I've got some big plans for next year. I'm looking forward to getting back into the decades of Daphne. So until next time, I'll see you up the chimney.